Please be advised that you may experience some background noises, airplanes, cars, kids, and of course, my nosy neighbors. Please enjoy my story and thank you for watching. Hello everyone, my name is Toskeyshi. I am a domestic violence survivor and I am here to tell my story. I grew up in a household of abuse, and that's where I witnessed it. I first met my ex-boyfriend, who is my abuser. He was very nice, very charming, very sweet. He's very quiet, stay to himself, he don't bother anyone, very shy. And that's who I was. Like, we were just similar, like, because I was shy, I was quiet, I stayed to myself, I didn't bother anyone, I speak my mind, in which eventually the mouth is gonna cost me. But yeah, I just stay to myself, I do what I have to do, and I don't bother anyone like that. And that's how we pretty much got along. We grew up together, and he was my best friend before entering a relationship with him. We do a lot of stuff together, and he was someone that I trusted, not only just love, but someone that I trusted about everything. And it's just like, he used to buy me gifts, he used to buy me candy, was so sweet to me. He'd tell me I'm beautiful, he would tell me he loves me. And I can just remember, holding hands, just walking with each other. I really fell in love with him. And I was like, wow, I can see us, having a future together. I don't know who he is. And he changed. Gift stops coming. Don't say I love you anymore. And he just changed. And I don't know the answer. I don't know why. He just wasn't the same person no more. I first experienced abuse from him, and it started off very small. It started off small hits, small push, and honestly, that was my warning sign, but I loved him, and I just didn't want to. I'm just thinking to myself that this is just not him, it's an accident. And this is the part where we enter a relationship. So the first time he pushed me was when he took me outside in his backyard. He was like, hey, I got something to show you, so follow me. Okay, I didn't think nothing of it, so I followed him. I followed him into his backyard. There was a lot of leaves, there was a lot of trees, and I just remember him pushing me. And he pushed me and I fell on the ground. And I'm looking at him, he looking at me. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I was looking for something. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Accidents happen. The second time he pushed me, this was in his house, and it was in the hallway, and his room is on the right side. It's in the back, and his room is across from his sister's room. So I remember him like following behind me, and I could just remember him pushing me. And he pushed me and I fell on the floor, and I can just remember him saying, get up. And I'm like, okay. So I got up, and then he was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And, I'm sorry. And I was like, okay, accidents happen. In my head, I was like, okay, this is the second time. Okay, well, maybe, I'm like, something's wrong, but I just don't know what it is. So I'm like, okay, he said he made a mistake. Accidents happen. So I just, I let it go. Little did I know that this was his way of introducing me to what was about to come. And honestly, I didn't know what was about to come until it happened. So it was a night. He was with his friends and they were playing boxing. And I wanted to join in. I'm a girl, but I likes to do boy stuff too. So it's nothing wrong with that. And I remember me and my abuser just play boxing with each other. And it was fun. I was having a great time. Even I was just laughing. Like I was like, wow, this is so much fun. But it got so bad so fast. And I just remember me being on the ground and he just kept punching me and punching me and punching me. I'm on the ground and he's still punching me. And I'm like, okay, this is not where it's supposed to go. And I could just remember still on the ground, just laying there. And I don't know what happened. Maybe I blacked out or something, but I can still hear everything. And I hear his friends just laughing at me like, oh, you done knock her out. Oh, you done put her to sleep. Oh, and it was just laughing and laughing at me. And I remember getting up off the ground slowly, not fully off the ground, but I just sit up and I'm looking at him and he looking at me and his friends just still laughing at me. I just boil down and start crying because I was like, oh my God, I just cried. So eventually I got up and then he came over and gave me a hug and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm still crying. And then, he looked me in my eye and he was like, I don't know nothing wrong with you. Okay, go in the house. So that's when, I went in the house and I just continued to cry. The next day, I got a black eye and I had to use my sister's makeup to cover it up so no one can see it. Honestly, it was the most embarrassing moments of my life and I would never forget that. It was very embarrassing and it started circulating around town. I get, people come up to me and like, oh, I heard such and such, fought you, hit you. Is that true? And I'm like, no, it ain't happened to me. Maybe somebody else, because it ain't me. That was my way of protecting him. And I was embarrassed. I was in shame. And I just didn't want to, tell the truth. I was scared. So I was like, no, he didn't do that to me. It's somebody else, not me. Another incident I remember was on the school bus. On my way getting off the bus, he just, I don't know what's wrong with him, but he aggressively started yelling at me like, what you looking at? And I'm looking at all the students and I'm looking at him and I'm like, really? Why would you do this? And he was just yelling at me and I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with this dude? So I, just got off the bus and I hurry up and just got in my house. I remember that incident. It was embarrassing. He just likes to embarrass me, honestly. Okay, so here comes another incident. He was very jealous and he wanted me all to himself. And he told me that out his mouth. Like, I want you all to myself. You're mine. You're nobody else. You belong to me. And I was like, okay, okay. The thing is, he do not like me to be around my friend. He really wanted me away from him. And he told me out his mouth, like, I don't want you around that boy. Who's that boy you at school? And I'm like, he's my friend, my best friend, which he was. He was my best friend. And he was like, I don't want you talking to that boy. And I'm like, why? I don't want you talking to that boy. He said it in an aggressively way. And I was like, oh my God. So I had to, show some proof. Like, this is my friend, we're not talking the stuff that you think in your head. We're just great friends. He's someone I can talk to as well. And I'm like, you're my boyfriend. You don't have anything to worry about. And he still was like, I don't want you talking to him. And I was like, okay. I don't know how, what, why, but I assumed that he saw me talking to my best friend at school. And all I can remember is just going to his house, because I have to go to his house, and I get to that later. So I remember going to his house, and he was just so angry. He was just angry. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so angry? And I can just remember him slamming me against the wall, choking me. And he was just choking me. And I'm like, get your hand off of me. He's like, you're cheating on me. And I'm like, no. I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth. I'm like, let go of my neck. Like, let go. And he would just kept choking me. And I'm like, I just couldn't breathe. And I could just remember him holding my neck for a while. Like, I just don't know how long, but I can remember him finally let go. And I just dropped down to the floor trying to catch my breath. And he's standing right there in front of me. And he was like, if you love me, you kiss my shoe. And I was like, oh God. So, I got down on my knees and I kissed his shoe. And again, that's when, I showed proof, like, he's just my best friend. You have nothing to worry about. And I'm taking my phone out. I'm showing him messages and everything, who's in my phone and who's the contacts. I was just showing him everything. And I'm like, you don't have anything to worry about. Like, I'm all yours. Yeah. So the reason why I have to go to his house every day is because I have to. I remember one time when I didn't show up at his house and he questioned me about it. He was like, why you didn't come over? What do you do? Where you been? What you do? What you doing? And I'm like, nothing. I had to make up a lie, and I can't remember what lie I made up, but it was a good excuse lie, as I thought. But yes, I have to show up at his house every chance I get. That is why I always come over at his house all the time. Like, I always come over at his house all the time. Every chance I get, I have to be over there, because he will question me why I haven't show up, why I'm not there when I'm supposed to be there. So I guess that's just his way of control. Another incident, I remember, we were just walking towards his house, and I don't know if some guy was just walking past the street, or I don't know who it was, but he was just looking at me like, oh, you looking at that guy? You like that guy? And I'm like, no, I don't like that guy. And then I just remember me following him to his house, and he was like, oh, I got something for you. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So we go in his house, and I was scared, so I end up running to his room, like in the corner where, you know, his bed is here and there's like an open space in the corner. I ran right there in that space, and I can remember him, you know, closing the door, and he was like, oh, don't run now, you gonna get it, you gonna get it, don't run now. I remember him locking the door, and I was like, oh my God, it's about to go down. And he grabbed his belt. I was like, oh geez. He was like, come from the corner. You know, I had my hand like this, like I'm just like, you know, scared to death. And he was like, come from the corner, come out. So I'm scared still enough finally come out, because, you know, I wanted to listen to him. So I got up slowly and, you know, walked towards him, and he just beat me with a belt. Like, he really beat me bad with the belt. I can just remember crying and screaming, stop, stop, stop. And he would just continually to hit me with the belt. And I guess that's his way of getting everything out, because he told me on his mouth, you're mine, you don't belong to anyone but me. And he literally beat my butt with that belt. And then when I was like just crying, he stopped, and then he just finally, like, you know, like just look at me, and I'm looking at him, and I can just remember like just saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you mad, and I'm all yours. I promise you, I'm all yours. I never cheat on you. I love you. I would never do anything to hurt you. And then that's when he gave me a hug, and I can remember me and him just hugging each other. And I'm just continuing like bawling, crying. And I remember that incident, and he beat me so bad that he literally got that out of my mouth. Like, he wanted to get that out, and honestly, he got it out of me. So the next day, of course, I can remember me having bruises all over my body, and I show it to him when I had to come to his house the following day. And I show him, and I'm like, oh, you know, I cover up the bruises, and I have on a long sleeve so nobody will know. I remember that he was just staring at me, like, you know, like I don't care, you know, you deserve it. That's just what it is, just bad. Another incident I remember, this was when we was in his sister room. We were just cracking jokes, we were just laughing, and I remember we were just having a good time, eating candy and stuff, you know, just doing what kids do, just have fun. And I don't know what happened to him, but I just remember him yelling, get out of my house. And I'm like, and I'm looking at his sister, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, what did I do? So I didn't want to fight with him, so I just got up. I remember telling his sister bye, and I said that because, you know, I'm hoping to come over the next day to, you know, catch up, talk again. But on my way out the door, he pushed me, and he pushed me again till I fell on the porch or the steps. I can't remember, but I remember falling on the steps or a porch or something. I remember that. And he just pushed me, and he kept hitting me, and I'm like, stop. I remember that incident, and I was like, oh my God, this is just getting worse and worse. And it's getting worse and worse. Another incident I remember, sex incident. There's 2 times I remember having sex with him. These are the main 2 times that I remember. The first time I didn't agree to it because I didn't want to. They didn't want to do it. The first time we did it, I just remember him on top of me, and I'm telling him, you know, I don't want to do this. I'm not ready. please get off of me, and and I was like, it's hurt, like stop, get off me. And he choked me. And he kept choking me and choking me and choking me, and I couldn't breathe. Like, I couldn't breathe, and I can just remember him yelling, shut up, you're gonna take this, shut up, shut up. And I took it. I he just kept choking me and yelling at me. And I remember that incident. The second incident I remember was in my house, and this day was my birthday. So I'm gonna always remember this incident. So of course, yes, we have sex, and then I can just remember after we were finished, I can remember, going in the kitchen. I'm going in the kitchen, he's there, and he had a cup with bleach in it. And he was like, I want you to drink this. And I'm looking at him like, And he was like, oh, it's okay. It's not going to kill you. I did some research on it, and, it's going to clean your intestines out and stuff. And I'm like, huh? And he was like, I don't want no baby. I don't want no baby with you. So drink this. And I'm like, I can just remember just being speechless, like I don't want to drink it. And he was like, if you don't drink it, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. So, me scared, and, damn if you do, damn if you don't. So I did it. I drank it, and like a dummy, I drank it, and it was just sick. I could just remember running to the bathroom and just vomiting, like throwing up. I don't know how long it lasted, but I could just remember him just standing right there by the bathroom sink. And he's just standing by the bathroom sink, and he's just watching me. And he's just like watching me just throwing up in the toilet. It's just, you just standing there, and I'm glancing at him, and I'm throwing up at the same time. And I'm like, okay, you gonna do something? Why are you standing there? So yeah, he just stand there and just watch me suffer, basically. So after I was able to control the vomiting, I got up, followed him, and I can just remember him taking a slice of my birthday cake and walked out the back door like nothing happened. And I could just remember just standing there like in the middle of the living room floor, and I just broke down crying. Like, he didn't say happy birthday, he didn't say I love you, he didn't say nothing. He just left. And I just cried. I cried. I went in my room. I cried. I just went in my bed and I cried. I cried to the point that I even went to sleep. So the next day, like the following day, I lied and I was like, I can't go to school because, I don't feel good, which is the truth. I didn't feel good, and I didn't want to go to the hospital or anything. I just couldn't. I didn't want nothing to come out. So I just basically just, suffer and pray that, I don't die from this. So that was one of the most painful experience I ever had to deal with. I still remember everything, and that hurts the most. It hurts the most. I can't speak for every person first experience, but your first experience getting your flower or your bottom taken. I did not have a great sexual experience with my abuser. The whole relationship was just toxic. It was bad. It was horrible. And I would no longer be ashamed, embarrassed anymore. And it's really difficult putting this on video, but I just want it to be put out there, and I just put laying all my cards on the table. My abuser took my virginity, and I lied about it over the years. I was ashamed, I was embarrassed, and I was just disgusted that he would choke me and force me to drink bleach, make me do things when it was supposed to be, I would say an intimate moment for the both of us, but it was a horrible nightmare disaster, honestly. And I lied about it over the years because I just didn't want to be reminded of someone who was so evil towards me. Another incident I remember was being at his house, and his mom was there, his brother was there, and I remember just being in the living room, and he was just upset. He was angry, and he just stormed his room and slammed the door. As a girlfriend, I wanted to know what was wrong with him. So, I went to his room and I asked him, I was like, "Are you okay? What is wrong?" And he was like, "Get out of my room." And I was like, "I just want to know what's wrong. Are you okay?" And next thing you know, he hit me. He kept continually to hit me. And I'm wrestling with him, blocking his head, hoping he stopped hitting me. And then I know that he was standing in front of his door, so I won't get through. And I'm just wrestling with him, trying to get through the door. So I was finally able to get through the door. And I remember just storming down the hallway, blurting out, he hit me. And he's storming behind me, "No, I didn't hit that girl. She's lying." So then his mom set me down on the couch. My abuser is right beside me. And she was like, "Did my son hit you?" And I'm looking at my abuser, and I'm looking at his mom. And his mom was like, "Don't look at him, sweetie. Did he hit you?" Oh my God, I am so scared. My heart is racing. I want to cry inside. And I knew if I would tell the truth, like, damn if I do, damn if I don't. I knew what the consequences are. And I am just scared. I am so scared. So I finally said, "No, he did not hit me." And he was like, "Yes, I told you I didn't hit that girl. I told you I didn't hit that girl." And so his mom was like, "That is not nice, sweetie. That is not nice to do, sweetie." And she was like, "Apologize." And so I'm looking at my abuser, and I said to him, "I'm sorry. It would never happen again. I promise." And his mom was like, "Okay, it's getting late outside. Can you walk her home?" And my abuser was like, "No, I'm not walking her home. She tried to get me in trouble." So I remember just getting up from the couch. I remember just walking towards the door, open it, and outside I go. Then I notice him behind me. I'm looking back, and I'm like, "Oh my God, he's behind me. Pray for me. It's about to go down." And he was just walking fast, like really fast, very fast. And next thing I know, he pushed me. And I'm like, "Stop." And I'm like, "Stop." And he pushed me again. And I fell on the ground. He's like, "Oh, you tried to get me in trouble, huh? You tried to get me in trouble, huh? You want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fight?" And I'm like, "What? Get off of me. Stop. And I could just remember him just constantly punching me in my face, like a dog. Like he keep continuing to punch me and hit me. I just remember it. He was just continuing to just punch me. And then I guess to the point he just got tired. He got all his anger out, his frustrations out, and he backed off. And I could just remember him just walking away. like nothing happened. And I'm still sitting on the side of the road. It's dark. The light is on above me. And you know, when the light is on, you know, you're supposed to be in the house, right? I can just remember just sitting there. The night light is on, and I'm just on the side of the road. I'm just crying, like crying. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is not what I expected to be, but this is what it is. And I could just remember just getting up. So, you know, I walk home and pretty much just cry. That's all I can remember. Another incident that I will always remember is when he put his foot on my throat and I just couldn't breathe. This were the time where I call it dog walking, because this was the day that I was treated like a dog. And he would make me get on my knees. I remember this, like he just told me to just hold my head still, and I hold my head still listening to him, and he would just slap me like across the face like this, and you know, he'll kick me, he will walk all over me, step on me, put his foot on my throat where I couldn't breathe. I remember he choked me, and he would just choke me, and I'm already on the floor, and he would just bang the back of my head on the floor while choking me. I call it like dog walking. That was the day where I was treated like a fucking dog. And honestly, it was getting worse and worse, and I consider myself in the danger zone already. It was just toxic, it was bad, and I was afraid to just get out. Another incident I remember, I don't know why, but he just likes to hit me with shoes and belts in his hand and his fists, anything he can get. I remember him like choking me with a belt. Like I remember him just choking me with it, and I'm like, oh God, you know, what is wrong with you? And another incident I remember just being on the floor, and he's on top of me, and he had my hand like he had his hand on my arm, like I couldn't move, and I remember him just telling me, you know, get up, get off of me, get off of me, and he was like, no, no, and I'm like, if you want to kill me, just go ahead and do it. This is where my breaking point, like I just wanted to die. Like I was just tired of the yelling, the bullying, the threatening, and all this, the beatings and the embarrassment. It was out of control, and this is the time where I just wanted to die. I was giving up, and I remember him telling him, you want to kill me, go ahead and do it, you know, I'm tired of this. I don't want to live no more. You know, just take me out of my misery. I just told him, you know, just kill me. Kill me. If that's what you want, just do it. Take me out of my misery. So I definitely remember that incident. I remember telling him, you know, I don't know, he just probably beat me again in his room. And I could just remember screaming out, help me, help me. And I could just remember him yelling at me like, no one's gonna help you. No one's gonna help you. And I'm just like constantly crying, I'm telling, like screaming out my lungs, like, help me, help me, help me. And just continually to just beat me. Like, it was just so bad. I remember that as well. Another incident I remember was when my abuser pulled a knife out of me. And he was just trying to like poke me with it and scare me with it. And I remember just hiding under the table, like getting under the table. And he was like, come from under the table, come from under the table. I'm not gonna hurt you. You scared? Why you scared of this knife? It's just a knife. And then I finally got from under the table, and he still continued to try to like scare me with it and like poke me with it. And cutting his finger. And when he cut his finger, he was like, ah, you know, when you cut your finger. And I literally died inside. Like, I just laughed inside. And I said to myself, that's what you get, you fucking abuser. That's what you get. But I didn't show that to him. Like, I didn't laugh out loud because I didn't want him to see that, you know. I didn't want, you know, no trouble. So I just basically, you know, went up to him and I was like, oh, are you okay? You need a Band-Aid? I can get a Band-Aid for you. But I remember that incident. I definitely remember that. Another incident I remember is the teddy bear incident. So he bought me this monkey teddy bear for Valentine's Day, and I kept it. I kept it during our relationship, even when the abuse was bad as well. So I had to meet up with him at this abandoned house. And, you know, I met up with him and I brought my teddy bear with me. And I brought it with me and I showed it to him. I was like, you remember this? You remember you got this for me for Valentine's Day? You know, try to bring back the good memories that we both share with each other. And honestly, it was a disaster. And I can just remember him taking the teddy bear, snatching it out of my hand. He was like, it's mine now. You're not getting it back. And I can remember just wrestling with him, trying to get my teddy bear back. But I could just remember him just pushing me, hitting me. And then I could just remember him just leaving with my teddy bear. And I just started crying. I'm like, oh my God, he took something I love. And I remember like the following day, I went over to his house. I confront him about it. I was like, what did you do to my teddy bear? Where is it? And he was like, oh, I burnt it. I got rid of it. Let me show you. So I'm following him in his backyard and he showed me where he burnt the teddy bear. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. This incident I would call the cheating incident. We were just back and forth messaging each other. And I remember him inboxing me, telling me that, you know, all you wanted to do was just love me. And I told him, you know, you just realize that? Like, all the stuff you put me through, you realize that all I wanted to do was just love you. But most important, I wanted to help you. I remember telling him that, you know, you hurt me, you mistreated me, you abused me. And he was just like, oh, I messed up. And then I was like, you treat me like garbage. And he started laughing at that. And I was like, that's not funny. So we're just still back and forth messaging each other. And then I got another inbox that was from his side chick. And I said side chick because that's just what I see, side chick. So she inboxed me and she was like, oh, you know, your man is basically seeing me. And I just wanted to let you know that he's seeing me and he talks about you all the time. And I inboxed her back. I was like, who is you? And I was like, yeah, I'm his girlfriend. And then she was just like, oh, you know, I'm seeing your man. I just wanted to let you know. And I inboxed my abuser. And I was like, who is this other side chick? Who is this side chick? And he was like, oh, that happened after you. And I was like, what do you mean after? And he was like, that happened after you. And I was just constantly confronting him, cheating on me and stuff. And he kept saying, no, that happened after you. And he was like, I never cheated on you. That happened after you. And I was like, what do you mean after me? Like, we still supposed to be together. We still supposed to be in a relationship. What do you mean after me? So we're just constantly back and forth. And I remember saying, you know, I cut my heart out. I love you, do anything for you. I was just hurt, honestly. I was just hurt. I remember just going back and forth. and he was saying, you know, I love her and I love you, and I need some time to think things through. I inboxed him and I was like, what do you mean you need time to think things through? You should know what you want. Why do you need time to think things through? You can't love two people. And he was like, I need some time to think things through. And I was like, you know what? If you love her, she treats you right, go be with her. Because basically I was hurt, and honestly, at this point, I love him, but I will not fight over him. I don't fight over no man. So I told him, I made that decision for him. I was like, you don't need time to think things through. You should know if you love me or not. So I basically made that decision for him. I was like, you know what? She treats you right. You love her. Go be with her. And I was done talking to him. I inboxed her. I was like, congratulations. I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. And I wish you both the best. Honestly, I was really, really hurt because I'm thinking this whole time that we're in a relationship, and I was just blindsided basically. I was basically put on the side while he controlled my life, but do whatever he want and sleep with other women. And I'm thinking this whole time that we're in a relationship, and I'm basically just blindsided the whole entire time. So yes, I was hurt. I was hurt. Fast forward, I remember we just had my grandma's funeral. So I came, you know, to visit, to stop by, see his mom and stuff. And of course, see my abuser. Because I just wanted to talk. I just needed someone to talk to. I just needed someone to vent. So I can remember his mom telling me, you know, hey, did you know such and such got a baby? And I'm like, I honestly, I didn't know that he had a child out there, you know. And I was like, no, I didn't know he had a child. She was like, yeah, he got a baby. I was hurt, but I didn't show it. Okay, so I finally, you know, I can remember just being in a car with him, which is my car, my red Beetle Bug. So I remember just being in a car with him, and I asked him about it. I was like, oh, I heard you a dad now. And he looked at me like, where you get that information from? I was like, your mom told me. I remember telling him, you know, congratulations, I'm happy for you and I'm proud of you. And he was like, thank you. But yeah, even though I was hurt inside, I didn't let that show. And he had, you know, he gave me that look like when I told him, you know, basically I find out you had a child, and you know, I felt like it was like kept a secret. We're just talking, you know, talking about life and stuff, and telling him about my problems. We're just going back and forth, you know, just talking. And to me, I felt that it was a great time because we, you know, no touching, no hitting, no fighting. We're just talking, catching up. And I thought everything was good. I thought everything was going great. Until I asked him this question. And I guess that triggered him. I asked him, I was like, I have a question for you. I want you to be honest with me. He was like, okay. I was like, have you ever cheated on me? And he was like, no. I was like, okay. Even though I knew the answer, it was a fucking lie. I asked him another question. This question is gonna set him on fire. I was like, do you love me? And he looked at me like, I don't know. He said it fast too, I don't know. And I was gonna say something else. I said, but, and he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. And me trying to keep him calm, like, you know, I'm sorry I didn't make you upset. Okay, you know, it's okay, it's okay. You know, I didn't mean to make you upset. I was like, what if another guy come into my life and treat me right? And he looked at me, don't play with me, I'll kill you. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, okay. I haven't seen him in a while, and me coming down to just catch up, praying and hoping that he change, and you know, he's a dad now, that he would change, that I thought he'd change, but he did not change. He's still the fucking monster, and that's just what I will always see. But what I will say is that shit is about to go down. Shit is about to go down in my car. Yep. Next thing I know, I was just remembering him just pushing me, like he just shoved me. Like I'm like, oh my god, you know. And then I just remember apologizing to him, like I'm sorry. Fortunately, I was hungry. I was really, really, really hungry. It's late at night, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, what restaurants are open. I haven't been home in a while. It's my grandma's funeral, so I'm just looking for food because, you know, I'm hungry. So I was like, hey, you want to ride with me and go get something to eat? I was like, yeah, okay. So we're driving, leaving his house, driving down the road, looking for food. And, you know, most of the restaurants, like I normally go to the Chinese restaurant, that was closed. So I was like, what else is open? You know, majority of the restaurants are closed. So I could just remember pulling off to the side of the road, and me just looking through my phone, just looking for a restaurant that says open. And next thing I know, he just hit me. And I put my car in motherfucking park. Put it in park, and I jumped out my car, my own car. I just started running down the road like, oh my god, he hit me. And I could just remember him running behind me, like, get back in the car, get back in the car, girl, get back in the car. So, you know, I'm sitting here scared, don't know what to do. So he's just staring at me, he looking at me while I'm slowly going back to my car, the driver's side. And he hit me in the back of my head, like, and I'm like, oh my god. So I hurry up and got in the car, and I'm just like freaking out. I'm like crying. I'm like, this dude he lost his mind. I could just remember us, like when I just got back in the car after he hit me on my head, we got into a really bad fight. Like, I just remember me pulling on his dress, and he's choking me, and then he bit me, and I'm screaming like, ah, you know, and I'm still pulling his dress, and he's still choking me. He was like, let go my dress. And I'm like, you know, and I just wouldn't let go, and he's constantly choking me, and I'm pulling his dress. So I finally was able to let go of his dress, and he let go of my throat. I was like, oh my god, we did fought, and that's just all I can remember is just fighting each other in my car. So I was like, you want to go back home? So I could just remember taking him back home, and I could just remember just crying because I wanted it to be like a great time, even though it was a sad day for me. And this honestly was the breaking point right here. Like, you do this to me. I just had my grandma's funeral. I lost my best friend. I lost my, you know, everything. And you gonna abuse me and beat me. I need to vent. I need someone to talk to at my lowest point in my life. That was my breaking point. And I can remember moving. I just wanted to get away from everyone. I wanted to start fresh in life. And that is why, you know, I moved to California. I just wanted to get away. especially from my abuser. I just wanted to get away from him, but eventually, you know, he still pretty much kept in contact with me. I kept in contact with him, but I didn't really like talk to him like that. It was just like, just checking in, making sure he's okay. This is the end. This is the end right here. So I became pregnant, not by him, thank God. And I kept it a secret. I didn't just tell it as soon as possible. And, it was like a few months. And then I finally announced that, I'm expecting. I am happy, which I was. I was very excited. I'm expecting my first child. And I got an inbox from him. And I was like, oh God, what is about to happen? So I look at it, and it was like, are you pregnant? One simple question. Just one simple question. And honestly, I didn't know what to say, because it's true, I am pregnant, and I didn't know if I want to tell this monster, or do I want to just keep it to myself or lie to him. And I was like, I'm not a liar, so I just told him the truth. I was like, yes, I'm pregnant. Oh, Jesus. That didn't go well, because he was on fire. How you gonna get pregnant? That's supposed to be my baby. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, you can't be happy for me. And like, I'm finally happy for the first time in my life. You can't be happy for me. And I could just remember him calling me wash up, all kinds of names, bitch, slut, washed up. And I was just like, wow, what is wrong with you? You're crazy. You need help. And I can remember him telling me, if you love me, you have an abortion, you get rid of it. And I was like, please, I love you, but please don't let me do this. Like, just please don't let me do this. And he was like, aggressively, if you love me, you get rid of it. And I was like, oh my God, he's crazy. And I could just remember him saying, I'm gonna cut the baby out of you, and I'm gonna cut it up. I'm like, oh my God, he's lost his fucking mind. And that was when I was like, no, I'm not gonna get rid of my baby. I believe I sent a picture of my stomach. I'm like, no. I was like, no, I'm not gonna get rid of my baby. I was showing him how far along I am, and I'm like, no, I'm happy. I'm not gonna get rid of my baby. I was like, oh, you remember you forced me to drink bleach? And that set his ass on fire. He was pissed. And he was like, I never want to talk to you again. I'm gonna kill you. And I was like, okay. I was like, I pray you never catch me. And that was it. I told his mom first. Then I told my family. Then I told, his family. And I was finally, able to tell them. It was not easy, but I did. I did not ever tell my abuser that I was leaving him, I don't want to be with him no more, or that it's over. I just never told him that. But I did tell him that I was moving, and he was pissed. He was not happy about it. He was very upset, and he was just upset. And I remember just being on my knees begging to him know that I wasn't leaving him, that I was just moving, that I promised that I was just moving. And I remember him telling me that you better not talk to anyone. And honestly, I was still basically physically, mentally, verbally, emotionally abused still by him. So it does not matter how far away I was or if I move or not, I'm still his supply and the abuse still happened. Joined a DV group. I started my own DV group, and I've been watching educational videos and listening to other women's story, and it's been very inspiring because that's how I got the courage to tell my story. I'm no longer in the dark. My voice is being heard, and I am happy about that. I want women, men, children, take this video as a help video. I just want this video to be helpful to someone who's going through something, who's scared to get out of the relationship, because I know what it feels like to be scared. Letting go, moving on, forgiving myself. I'm glad that this is over, and I just hope my video helps someone. I am free. Right now, I can't forgive him right now, but eventually I do want to forgive him. And I'm not telling anyone out there, you know, you have to forgive him. You don't have to forgive the abuser. Like, he can just fuck off. It's my time right now, and eventually, I don't know, months, years, I will forgive him. I will. This has impacted my life a lot. Until this day, I still suffer from PTSD from it. And this is something that I will go to the grave with. I will close my eyes and I will always remember, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I'm constantly having flashbacks of everything he done to me. And the more I talk about it, though, the more helpful I am. And this is why I had the courage and the strength and the motivation to tell my story to help someone, because I know what it feels like to suffer in silence. And I no longer want to do that anymore. I'm just tired of suffering. So it's very important for me to be honest and truthful to myself. This is my justice and I deserve it. He's not an angel. He's a monster. And that is what I will always remember. And yes, it has impacted my life. But I will never forget this. I will never forget this. And I know one day that I will have to forgive him. I will. But I will never forget this. And I will never forget the monster. This whole relationship was very toxic. It was bad, and I can honestly say I've been through shit with this person. Someone that I love was a complete monster. He was just so mean to me. It was just someone that I just did not know. I don't know what happened to him, but this is what I will always remember him as, a monster. So I can't sit up here and say, you know, he was good to me and all this stuff. Yes, this is a tattoo of my abuser. Yes, I made mistakes, and honestly, I do regret getting the tattoo, but at the same time, I did not tell anyone that I was abused. I got this tattoo before I mentioned I was abused by, you know, him. So it's a mistake, it's a lesson learned, but I want to get a survivor tattoo around it. So I'm, I definitely want that to happen. I want to get a survivor tattoo around this, but it's a lesson learned. You know, we make mistakes, but I take this as a way of saying, you know, and I do this like, I survive you, you know, you can't hurt me anymore, and that is the truth. Like, I just have to deal with it, but I want to get a survivor tattoo on it, so yeah. Me and my abuser, we do not have kids together. We're not married, never married, and honestly, before I wanted that, but honestly, I'm just thankful that things have not been that way, because if it was, it would have been really, really worse. And honestly, I'm just thankful that my kids never met him. I forgive myself. I honestly do. I forgive myself for allowing someone to just break me down so bad to the point where I wanted to die. I forgive myself for allowing someone to hurt me, call me names, and belittle me and make me feel worthless. I forgive myself for being weak and still protecting him and not seeing, just didn't want to see who he really is. And I forgive myself for staying, for giving him so many chances that he just honestly don't deserve none of them. So I do forgive myself for everything I have been through with my abuser, and I take this as a lesson learned, because I now know not to allow myself to be in a relationship where someone physically, mentally, emotionally hurt me. I would never let anyone break me down like that again. I haven't kept in contact with him since we had a fight and he threatened to kill me back in 2016. I haven't kept in contact with him whatsoever. Still, I couldn't like speak out about it while he was living. I still live in fear, and I just kept my distance away from him. That's why I never went home at all. Like, everyone asked me, like, hey, have you been back to Dylan? No, haven't gone back home. I don't want to be around him. My kids will be around that. He used to always say, you know, if I don't do this, he's gonna do that, or he's not gonna talk to me anymore, he's gonna kill me and all this stuff, so I would do it. But this was the time where I said no. I finally said no to him, and he couldn't deal with it. He couldn't handle it. And I stood up for myself for that time. But that's not the first time he said he was going to kill me. He said that lots of times, and actually he has tried to kill me. Yes, my grandma bought me that birthday cake. That was my birthday. And what I remember that day, what I will always remember, is being mistreated. Thought I was gonna die, sick, and my abuser cutting a piece of my cake, not telling me happy birthday, and just walking out the door like he don't care. Like, walking out the door with a slice of cake in his hand, the back door. That's hurtful, painful, scarred for life. Kept it in the dark for years. I was afraid to tell anyone. I was afraid to speak up. And, you know, I couldn't take pictures or anything. The backup and proof is in my head. I deleted all my old Facebook pages, so I don't have like messages of him or anything because they're all gone. I deleted it. But yeah, he would treat me like garbage, hurt me, abuse me, and I would still be protecting him. Like, I would stay silent and don't speak on what he is doing to me. And that is what I mean by protecting him. What woke me up and snapped me out of protecting him still, because keep in mind, I was still protecting him, and I'm saying, yo, he's, sweet. He's the love of my life. He means the world to me. And I'm just like, just saying all kinds of stuff, helping his family. And, even though I wasn't there at the funeral, I was still help. Like, I have this rescue kind of like heart. Like, I just wanted to come to the rescue. I wanted to help. I wanted to help with his tombstone. I was just doing the thing. And I, post on social media. I love him. He's the love of my life. He means everything to me. And I bought jewelry. I bought a pillow, a keychain. I mean, I just had his face everywhere. So when I have these flashbacks, that snapped me out of it. That woke me up. Like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Why is you doing this? Do you remember what the shit he put you through? And when I had these flashbacks, I was like, oh my God. It took me back in a time where I had to remember everything, which I do. I still do. It still plays in my head. And I was like, oh my God, why is I'm still protecting him? Why is I'm helping him? Like, why is I'm just doing this when he don't give a shit about me? Like, he tried to kill me. Like, why is I'm still going the extra mile for him? And that what woke me up. This is just what I see. He's a monster. And I am done protecting the charming monster. Honestly, you cannot change an abuser. I tried. I was hoping. I was praying. I wanted to help. I tried to help. And I just realized that you cannot help an abuser. Once an abuser, always an abuser. They will not change. That's just who he is. I see his true colors. That's just who he is. He has on this fake mask, and to the world, he's the good, quiet boy that don't bother anyone. And, he's such a sweetheart. He don't do no wrong. I don't see that. I see a monster, a charming monster. That's what I see, and I will always see, because he does not show that side to the public. Abusers don't show that side to the public. They want to keep that nice, good-looking image. They don't want no one to see the real demons they have inside. And honestly, I will always see him as a charming monster. He's a monster, and that is what I will always see. It woke me up. That was my wake-up call right there, to just stop. Just stop. You don't have to do it anymore. Just stop. He's gone now. Come out of the closet. And that's what I did. I came out. Making this video, not only to just tell my story, this is my justice. And I consider it my justice because I want this chapter to be closed. This video is my closure. I would have to close this chapter, honestly. I will have to close it, and that's by forgiving him. He passed away this year, and I done some things that I regret. But when he passed, I was sad. I cried. I locked myself up in a room, and I don't know if this like the trauma bond or something, some type of way. I don't know what it is, but I was grieving his death because, you know, this is someone that I grew up with and fell in love with. I was grieving his death. I was just sad. And I was just, I was heartbroken when he passed. I was, because of what had happened to him. I believe that no one deserves their life to be taken that way. And I don't wish death on anyone. I would never, ever will. But I will say that at this moment, I am in a better place. I am happy because I now can speak my truth, and that the abuse and hurtful things that he done to me is no longer swept under the rug. I can speak my truth, and the truth is out on the table now. I know I'm gonna get this question a lot. Why did I stay? Why did I stay silent? Why didn't I tell anyone? Honestly, it was just hell being with him. The whole relationship was just hell, honestly. And like I said, I can't express it enough. I just can't express it enough. All I can say is I was scared, I was afraid. He threatens me a lot, to the point that I believe him when he tries to kill me. So I just was afraid to leave. I was afraid to break the relationship, and that's why I stayed. The stuff I bought, the pillow, the jewelry, the keychain, the necklace, everything that I bought with my abuser face on it is just packed up in the closet. I don't even look at it anymore. It's just packed up, sitting there, and I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do with it. So I just have it sitting in the closet. I'm thankful that this is just what it is, and I'm able to speak up and talk about it. And if he was alive, honestly, I'd probably be dead. No, I do not love my abuser anymore. And I'm thankful that I had these flashbacks, because it woke me up. It made me realize why I have not been in contact with him, and it made me realize what kind of person he truly is. I will always remember him as a monster, and I'm just thankful that I was able to just wake up and realize that he never loved me the same way that I loved him. Love is not supposed to abuse, manipulate, hurt, belittle, talk down, make them feel worthless. That's not love, and I forgive him. This whole chapter would just be closed. It would be done, and I will move on with my life. I will. These are my final thoughts. Speaking on domestic violence and abuse, I feel it's very important for me to tell my story to help someone. I'm not an advocate, I'm not a professional, but as going through abuse and experience it, I feel that my voice would be helpful to someone who's going through the same thing, or going through a situation where they cannot get out of. And as a Black woman, I feel that my story will be helpful to all races. And it doesn't matter if you're white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, short, tall, purple, orange. All households experience abuse, get swept under the rug. And I want to break that cycle. As a young lady going through abuse from my ex-boyfriend, I wish that I had that help. I wish that I was educated on domestic violence, and I wish I knew the signs and what to look for. But now I can say that I am a survivor, and now I know what to expect. Domestic violence and abuse deserves to be acknowledged. We cannot continue sweeping this under the rug. It's time to break the cycle. It's time to speak up. Your voice is important. Thank you for watching. I would like to thank my family, my close friends, my inner circle. I would like to also thank the supporters, the non-supporters. I would also like to thank the DV group that I have joined. You women are so inspirational. You are powerful, you are strong, and you are a fighter, and you are a survivor. And I want to thank the DV group that I have joined. I also started a DV group as well. You can search it on Facebook. In the group section, it's called Survivors of Domestic Violence and Abuse. Everyone deserves their voice to be heard. And I hope that this video has helped you and encouraged you that you're never alone. Your voice is powerful. You don't have to stay in silence anymore. And it's okay to come out of the dark. And it's okay to share your story. Thank you.